Revelation chapter 8, giving all praise to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Hashem Kakodash. I did this breakdown a while back, but they took the site that I put it on the YouTube page, they took it down. So of course the video went down with it. So I don't know if anybody copied it and put it on their page, but anyway, at least one person, I believe two people, asked me, well, recently, about a week ago, someone asked me to go into Revelation, the 8th chapter, and it's pretty simple breakdown. It's not all that difficult. I mean, if you don't know it, it seems deep, but it's really not. Revelation chapter 8 is yet to come, and it goes hand in hand with the destruction. So let me just go ahead and read it, and I'm going to try to breeze through it. Let's see where the Spirit takes me. And when he had opened the seven seals, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. And this is John looking at all these different visions. You know, he just finished seeing the vision of the 144,000, 12,000 out of each tribe, and then he saw the great multitude arrayed in white with palms in their hands. And it was explained to him what that meant. So he's looking for other visions to come, and he's, waiting for about a half an hour, and then the visions start up again. It says, and I saw the seven angels which stood before the Most High, and to them were given seven trumpets. Now the seventh trumpet, or the seventh trouble, or the seventh angel represents the last trumpet. That's when the Lord comes back. It says in 1 Corinthians 15, around about the 50th verse. I'm not going to go to it. Somebody can put it in there if they want. But it says, we shall be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. The last trump represents the seventh trump, the seventh angel, the seventh trouble. Third verse, and another angel came and stood at the altar having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. So when we send up them prayers, they go to the heavens, especially the elect. When the elect sends up the prayers, the Most High is accepting those prayers. And the smoke of the incense which came with the prayers of the saints are all Israel, starting with the elect, ascending up before the Most High out of the angel's hand. And the angels took the censer. Now, what is a censer? A censer, if you ever watch a movie about the Roman Catholic Church and you see the priest with that brass or gold, it's like a bowl with chains on it, and there's smoke coming out of it. Hey, they got that from us. That's part of the liturgy. Look that word up. 5th verse. And the angel took the censer and filled it with the fire of the altar and cast it onto the earth. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings and an earthquake. That earthquake represents the destruction. What's going to make the earthquake happen are these ICBM missiles pelting the earth. Tells you that. In Isaiah, the 24th chapter, said the earth shall reel back and forth. 6th verse. And the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. Prepared themselves to sound. See, this destruction is not going to take place unless and until the angels sound their trumpets. And when you got trumpet number 1, trumpet number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, it tells you in Job, what is that? Job, the 5th chapter, in the 19th verse. You can really start at the 12th verse. It says in the 19th or the 20th verse, it tells you that in between the 6th and the 7th trouble or trumpet or angel, we got to be out of here. We got to be beamed up in them ships, and we're going to be up above the clouds, pursuant to Revelation the 15th chapter. What does it say in Revelation the 15th chapter? Let me go to it. Then I'll come back to this. Revelation 15 verse 1. And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues. They're also known as plagues. The 7 angels, the 7 troubles, the 7 trumpets, and the 7 plagues. For in them is filled the wrath of the Most High. So during that 7th plague, that's when all hell is going to break loose. And we're going to be out of here in between the 6th and the 7th plague. Revelation 15 verse 2. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast. The beast is in full effect right now, with the whole crown Vic Royale. That's a part of the beast. And over his image is this ancient pagan Roman Empire system. Because this is Rome all over again. This is the new Rome. This is the Rome that was wounded to death, and behold, his deadly wound was healed. Revelation 13. The image is not a picture of Caesar Borgia. And over his mark, the word mark goes back to the Greek word charagma, and we said this many times. Now the word charagma is mentioned in the book of Acts. And what I'll do is I'll put that precept in the comment section. Now the word charagma literally means to engrave. And over the number of his name, his number is based on the 3 6s. This guy, President Biden, he said that something was going to pass. It was going to take place. He said it was going to take place it's going to take 6 days, 6 weeks, or 6 months. I believe that's how he said it. 6 days, 6 weeks, or 6 months. But it's going to happen. So what that was a message to the illuminated ones. The number which is spoken of in Revelation 13 and 18, and his numbers 600, 666. So it went over Jake's head, and it went over Esau's head, but it didn't go over the head of the elite and the ones whose eyes are open. And over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass. The sea of glass represents the firmament, or above the firmament, up in the sky, having the harps of the Most High. That represents, we're going to be standing in them ships, and we're going to be looking down at the destruction of Babylon the Great. The Most High is going to allow us to see it. And that's the fulfillment of Psalms, the 91st chapter. We're not going to overcome Christianity. All right? So now let me go back. Give me a second here. Let me do it this way. We're back at Revelation 8. And we've been going through these breakdowns Saturday to the best of our ability, because a lot of different subjects and spirits come up. But we've been trying to, we got a little audience out there on Saturdays, and we've been pretty much going back to the drawing board. You know, the first thing that I was taught when I went to Ariah's High Priest Ariah's Saturday class was the various prophetic breakdowns. Revelation 8 verse 6, and the seven angels which had the seven trumpets prepared themselves to sound, and they're preparing themselves to sound. If you've ever seen a trumpet player, or if you ever seen Louis Satchmo or Miles Davis, and what's the other name? Wow. And when he would play he looked like a bullfrog. His cheeks got so big when he played the trumpet. Damn, I can't believe I can't. You had I'm just mentioning some of the great trumpeters. Louis Satchmo Armstrong, Miles Davis, which I ran into him. I actually saw him about 3 days before he dropped dead. He was eating crab, man. He went to this place called the Crab Shanty, which was right next to which was right next door to the school at 1 West. And I told Tazapawan, it was me, High Priest Shaw, and Tazapawan, and we had told Tazapawan, look, give him a flyer. So he knew he was an Israelite, you know, before because he had to have read that, you know, that flyer. So before he passed, a couple of days later, he knew that he was an Israelite. So we're back in the book of is that Dizzy Gillespie? Dizzy Gillespie. Dizzy Gillespie. I'm gonna have to look him up. Anyway, it says on the 7th verse. Well, going back to the before the angels sounded, these great trumpeters, when they would play, they would get their mouths ready, whether they put Vaseline on their lips, and you know, they did certain exercise to get ready to play, because they were going to play a long session. And that's a painful thing when you playing that trumpet, especially for a concert. You know, that was a lot of strain on your mouth, on your lips, and you had to be in shape. It says, 7th verse, the first angel sounded, and there followed hell and fire mingled with blood. And that hell represents the missiles. So the Apostle John didn't know what a missile was. He didn't know what an ICBM. He didn't put down, I saw an ICBM missile. I saw a Tomahawk missile. I saw a low cruise missile. He's to him it looked like hell with fire coming out the hell mingled with blood, because when these warheads hit, they cause people to bleed. They cause people to blow up. And they were cast upon the earth, and the third part of the trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. Now the third part represents the third part of man. You have 3 classifications of men: sons of the power, which are the Israelites; sons of the wicked, which are Edomites; and sons of men, which are the other nations. So the third part that was going to get destroyed was where Edom was at. And mainly it's talking about Babylon the Great. And the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. Now that great mountain represents the missiles pelting Babylon the Great. Because it was a sister that asked the question. She had asked whether this mountain represents the volcano, the active volcano that you read about in the news. I forget the name of the volcano, and I said no. So I said I would do a video. I think I even put in a comment, I'll do a video on this. That represents the missiles. Now it's in Jeremiah. I don't know if it's in Jeremiah 50:25 or Jeremiah 25. I'm almost positive it's Jeremiah 50 and 25, which I'm not going to go to it. Matter of fact, let me do this. Let me try this. Bear me for a minute. Let's see if it's Jeremiah 50. Could be wrong. That's not it. Let me try Jeremiah 51. Okay, yeah, Jeremiah 51, verse 25. And in Jeremiah 50 and Jeremiah 51, when it speaks about the destruction of Babylon, is talking about this current Babylon. Jeremiah 51, verse 25, behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain. Mountain meaning government. This is the destroying mountain is Esau's government. NATO, the EU, Canada, America, saith Yahweh, which destroyeth all the earth, and I will stretch out mine hand upon thee, and roll thee down from the rocks, because they're Edomites, and will make thee a burnt mountain. Let's go back to Revelation 8, verse 7. The first angel sounded, and there followed hell and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth, and the third part of the trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. 8th verse. And the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. So that mountain represents the missiles destroying this place. Now, It's written a little different in Jeremiah 51:25, but it's the same event. And that mountain represents Esau's government, Esau's kingdom, a ruling power of Esau. 9th verse, Revelation 8 verse 9, and the third part of this creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed. That's Esau's ships. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part, Esau's government, Esau's ruling power of the rivers, and upon the mountains, and upon the fountains of water. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. Wormwood means, let me go to it. Got to know a little Greek and know a little Hebrew.
Strong's G894. Absintheon. Absintheon.
Absinthia. Let me let you listen to that again.
Strong's G894. Absintheon. Absintheon.
Wormwood, the name of a star which fell into the waters and made them bitter, made them contaminated. Remember the account of the waters of, was it Mara, when Moses and our foreparents, they encountered that, a big river or lake. There's a large body of water. Somebody can put the precept in the comment section. But the water was bitter, meaning it would kill you if you drank that water. The water was contaminated. So the Most High instructed them to take a tree and to cast it into that body of water, and the tree cleaned up the water where they were able to drink. Now this is where you get the concept of filtering water, and the filtering agent is carbon or charcoal. So it go through that carbon and that charcoal, and then when the water went past the carbon or the charcoal, that water would be fresh. There's another way of cleaning water. It's called distill. You would take a pot, put the water in it, the bitter water. You would have the steam come to the top of the pot, the covering of the pot, and whatever went to the top of the pot, you siphoned it off. That water was fresh. What is that called? Reverse osmosis. Look that up. Osmosis, reverse osmosis. Now, there was a destruction of a power plant in Russia, and the power plant was called, I believe the power plant or the place was called Chernobyl. Now that word Chernobyl translates into the word wormwood, which means contaminated. So people got contaminated from that leak. So the waters became wormwood, meaning they became contaminated. Verse again, Revelation 8 verse 11. And the name of the star is called Wormwood, and the third part of the waters became wormwood or contaminated, and many men died of the waters. Why did they die of the waters? Because they were drinking contaminated water. They were drinking radioactive water because they were made bitter or contaminated. And the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars. The sun, the moon, the stars also represent wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, not necessarily in that order. So they didn't have a way to get out of this. It says in Isaiah the 13th chapter that the Medes shall not regard the little ones. So as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise, meaning they had no way of getting out of this. 13th verse, and I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpets of the three angels which are yet to sound. So this destruction is going to come in stages, but there's going to be a point in time where those missiles are going to be shot off. You know what I see? I see certain missiles being shot off. Then it's going to kind of stop. Then they're going to try to negotiate. And some more missiles are going to be shot off. Then it's going to come to a point. And we got to see. We got to wait and see. This is just me talking. Then there's going to be a point where those Russians and those other allies of Babylon, they're just going to pretty much say, fuck it. Let's destroy this motherfucking place. Whether it be Biden that does it, or Kamala Harris, or something gonna happen, and this is all a buildup. You know, they have the cargo ships out there on the West Coast because they're coming from China. So how did they come? They come from China to the west coast of the U.S. And those containers, they have trucks, 18-wheelers, that go to the various different stores and drop off their merchandise from the west all the way to the east. Ain't nothing coming to the east. Everything comes from the west and is pushed to the east. So this thing might happen in the form of stages, where parts of America, certain cities are going to be hit. Then they're going to try to negotiate. And that's what the Medes, pursuant to Isaiah 13, they're not going to give a damn.